It finally happened, people! After nearly 2 years of waiting, Season 3 of Rick and Morty has graced our televisions, and needless to say, we have a lot to talk about. Hi, I'm Jacob with Channel Frederator, and it's time to grab your portal gun and hop on over to a dimension where the Szechuan sauce flows like water, because we've got 107 facts about Rick and Morty Season 3. Let's get started. Season 3 of Rick and Morty was first confirmed by Justin Roiland partway through Season 2 on August 12, 2015. After what felt like an eternity of waiting, Season 3 actually premiered 1 year, 5 months, and 28 days later on April 1st, 2017. The air date, April 1st of 2017, is almost exactly a year and a half after The Wedding Squanchers, which aired on October 4th of 2015, as stated by Mr. Poopy Butthole at the end of the episode. A year and a half would have been 3 days later on April 4th. The first episode, The Rick Shank Rickdemption, debuted unannounced and unadvertised and was uploaded as a continuous looping stream on Adult Swim as part of an April Fool's Day publicity stunt. It was the head of Adult Swim, Mike Lazzo's idea to air the Season 3 premiere on April Fool's Day. At first, Harmon and Roiland didn't love the idea, but eventually they came around. The biggest concern with an April Fool's Day premiere was that people would think that the episode was a joke, which of course ended up being the case. At the time of its airing, fans seemed split on whether or not the episode was real or just a really elaborate joke. Either way, the decision to play the episode on a loop was a smart one, as the premiere's ratings improved over the course of the night, with 11 p.m. ratings almost doubling since the 8 p.m. ones. Following the surprise premiere on April Fool's Day, the show took a brief hiatus. The second episode premiered on July 30th, 2017, and episodes were released on a weekly basis after that, with the exception of Labor Day weekend. The final episode of Season 3, The Rickchurian Morty Date, aired on October 1st of 2017. In January of 2016, Dan Harmon announced that Season 3 would have 14 episodes at Magic City Comic-Con. However, and unfortunately, during the surprise Rick and Morty livestream on June 29th of 2017, Roiland and Harmon sadly announced that Season 3 would only be 10 episodes. Dan Harmon blames his perfectionist nature for the show only getting 10 episodes this season instead of 14. For those who don't know, Dan Harmon can get a little picky about the quality of his work, and since he was fired before the 4th season of Community, another one of his shows, he just wants to make sure that the work he's putting out is exemplary. The good news is that Dan Harmon has apparently learned from his mistakes this season and thinks the crew could successfully do 14 episodes for Season 4. As of right now, the plan for Season 4 is to make 10 episodes efficiently, prove to Adult Swim that they can do so without any problems, and then get Adult Swim to greenlight more episodes. Season 3's final episode, The Rickchurian Morty Date, was finale-ified only when the crew realized that they weren't going to be able to make 14 episodes for the season. The biggest change on the 3rd season of Rick and Morty came behind the scenes, where Harmon and Roiland decided to add 4 new female writers to their staff. Prior to that, Rick and Morty went 2 seasons without a single female writer on staff, which fueled an ongoing controversy in the public eye about the lack of female writers on Adult Swim shows. It's worth pointing out that the lack of female writers was not a conscious decision by Roiland and Harmon, and was more so due to a lack of applicants. When it came time to staff the 3rd season of the show, they received 5 or 6 sample scripts from women, which Roiland claims had never happened before. By hiring 4 female writers, Harmon and Roiland created a 50-50 male-female split on the writing staff, excluding themselves. The 4 new writers were Jane Becker, Erica Rosby, Sarah Carbiner, and Jessica Gao. Gao previously served as a writer on Robot Chicken, while the other writers didn't have many credits prior to Rick and Morty. Carbiner and Rosby have been writing partners since college, and got the gig on Rick and Morty after someone on the show saw a sci-fi comedy script that they wrote together. A balanced writer's room meant that both the men and women could increase their attention on Beth and Summer. Prior to the inclusion of women writers, the men sometimes struggled to understand how to write for a teenage girl or a mother. Unfortunately, a balanced writing staff didn't seem to speed up the process any, as Season 3 took 12 straight months of writing. Concerned fans speculated that Season 3 took so long because Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland were fighting, but Harmon quickly dismissed this fear in a series of tweets. In reality, part of the reason the show took so long to write was from pressure due to the monumental success of Seasons 1 and 2. The writers often found themselves overthinking the script, so things that took 5 minutes to work out in Season 1 took much longer in Season 3. And now, of course, we have to talk about the McDonald's Szechuan sauce. What started off as a throwaway joke in the Rick Shank Rickdemption very quickly became a cultural phenomenon. According to Dan Harmon, the sauce joke was intended as a play on the obsessive consumerism of Justin Roiland, who also just happens to really like the sauce. Rick's quote about the Nintendo DS from Season 2's Total Recall is almost verbatim the words of Justin Roiland from an event that happened one day at the office, which must mean that Roiland might have also had a Rick-like rant about Szechuan sauce. It took way less than 9 seasons though, as McDonald's sent Roiland 64 ounces of Szechuan sauce in July of 2017, just a couple months after the season 3 premiere. In order to bring back the sauce, McDonald's claimed to have opened a portal to dimension C1998M, a dimension where it's always 1998. A couple months later, McDonald's announced that it was bringing back the Szechuan sauce in limited supply for one day only on October 7th of 2017. Unfortunately, the promotion was infamously a complete backfire. The super limited amount of sauce that they released was not nearly enough to meet the demand, and people were not happy about it. If you missed out on the sauce and have a couple $100 to blow, check eBay. An offer for 3 sealed packs of the sauce sold for $848.88, while a single packet reached bids as high as $995. Or, if you missed out on the sauce, you can just wait. On October 8th of 2017, McDonald's announced that they would bring the sauce back in winter 2017 with a much greater supply. Although inspired by Rick and Morty, McDonald's decision to re-release the sauce has no official affiliation with Rick and Morty, Adult Swim, or Justin Roiland or Dan Harmon. McDonald's did say, though, that Roiland approved of the poster designs for the sauces, but just as a fan. Okay, that's enough sauce facts for now. Although it's not officially canon, Dan Harmon revealed that Rick's origin story from the Rickshank Rickdemption may have more truth to it than we think. Rick reveals that the origin story was a construct to trap the Gromflemite, but Harmon says the best way to construct something is to take it from reality. Rick mancing the stone started out with the idea of Rick having a bookalizer, which was a device that allowed you to go into any book. They were going to find a book by Jerry that he wrote when he was younger, and they end up trapped in his crappy novel. In case it isn't obvious enough, Rick mancing the stone is mostly an homage to George Miller and his Mad Max series of films. Harmon and Roiland have wanted to reference the post-apocalyptic franchise for a while now and thought it was the perfect way to explore themes of manhood and womanhood. Season 3 is the first and so far only season of Rick and Morty to not have an interdimensional cable episode. If the crew had been able to make the intended 14 episodes for Season 3, there likely would have been a third interdimensional cable. Instead, as Rick so aptly announces in the episode, Morty's Mind Blower serves as this season's anthology-style episode. And true to form, it is the 8th episode of the season. Rick's The Minutes and Interdimensional Cable 2 Tempting Fate were the 8th episodes of Season 1 and 2, respectively. The Rick and Morty writing staff used a whiteboard and pitched over 100 ideas for Morty's Mind Blowers, including a pitch for cake stairs that never made it in. Oh, cake stairs. Another idea included Rick falling in love with a truck, one saw Morty transformed into a living painting and auctioned off. It seemed like nothing was off the table in terms of ideas. Ultimately, the writers voted on what they felt were the top ideas and then further developed them. So what happened to the unused ideas? Well, the writers are going to hang on to them and potentially use them for future episodes. In Morty's Mind Blowers, we catch a very brief glimpse of an interdimensional cable show, House Hunters. Unlike the show in our universe, though, the interdimensional version follows a group of hunters as they track down and kill sentient houses. Interdimensional Cable 3 might not have aired on television, but it did come out via comics. To coincide with the Season 3 premiere on Adult Swim, the Rick and Morty comics released their 23rd issue titled Interdimensional Cable 3. Time for some little fun fact nuggets. In Morty's Mind Blowers, the truth tortoise at the beginning of the episode says, "I am a beetle, Paul is dead," backwards to Morty. The quote from the truth turtle is a reference to an old conspiracy theory that claimed Paul McCartney from the Beatles died around 1966 or 67 and was replaced by a lookalike. Claims to the theory included listening to certain tracks by the group backwards that revealed clues of Paul's death, which would also explain why a fan listened to the truth turtle backwards. Vindicators 3: The Return of Worldender featured the rapper Logic as a guest star. Logic performs a song dedicated to Noob Noob during the final scene and end credits of the episode. Vindicators 3: The Return of Worldender marks the third time the Vindicators were assembled. According to the episode, the previous 2 meetings happened during Rick and Morty's adventures off-screen during last summer. In the real world, last summer would make the last time the Vindicators assembled the summer of 2016, which sadly was a summer without any Rick and Morty. The fact that Rick and Morty weren't invited to Vindicators 2 might be a nod to Season 3's delayed production. At the encouragement of Dan Harmon and against the warnings of producer Sidney Ryan, Justin Roiland actually got drunk in the booth to properly method act and portray drunk Rick for Vindicators 3. According to Sidney Ryan, the day Roiland got drunk in the booth was the least productive and messiest recording day that the studio has ever had. Speaking of getting drunk, Dan Harmon says that Rick's flask is full of vodka and that the liquor anchors Rick to reality. Vodka is also Harmon's drink of choice. He even has a sponsorship from Kettle One called the Kettle One Alliance, in which they send him monthly shipments of vodka and access to a concierge. At one point, Millie and Ants had a sidekick who was named 3 More Ants. According to Rick's game, he has a tragic origin, so it's possible we could be looking at a Jason Todd situation here. 3 more ants made it through a couple of iterations of the script, but ultimately was cut from the final episode. Vindicators 3 is the 10th adventure Morty chooses on his Morty adventure card, which is a reference to the bet that he won in Me Seeks and Destroy. The bet allows Morty to choose 1 in every 10 Rick and Morty adventures, so that would mean that there have been at least 100 adventures since Me Seeks and Destroy. In the Whirly-Durly conspiracy, it's revealed that Rick has cybernetic implants in a majority of his body, which could be due to the events in the Rickshank Rickdemption, where Rick switched bodies with Quantum Rick from the former Citadel of Ricks. The scanner in Whirly-Durly reveals that Rick has a brain implant, a prosthetic left eye, artificial robotic arms and legs, and implants in his lungs, heart, and stomach. The augmentations have descriptions, but we haven't been able to translate the language in the terminal. Rick's skin is also augmented with a nanofiber defense mesh on his skin capable of repelling people or aliens away from him. The beginning scene of the Whirly-Durly conspiracy, where Rick drags naked Jerry out of his bed, is an homage to the pilot episode's opening scene where Rick does the same thing to Morty. The World Toxifier device in Rest and Ricklaxation is powered by 2 microverse batteries. It's not explicitly mentioned, but the batteries have a striking resemblance to those from the Ricks Must Be Crazy. Toxic Rick mentions that Rick's age is around 70 years old, so I guess Rick is getting up there in age, so the cybernetic modifications make perfect sense now. Morty's girlfriend, Jacqueline, mentions that Morty is from the Midwest, which contradicts a previous statement from Roiland that said that the family lives in Washington just outside of Seattle. It's possible that detoxified Morty lied to Jacqueline, but lying would probably be considered a toxin, right? Season 3 is the first season where we see Rick wear a seatbelt. He first does so in Pickle Rick, and then continues to do so in Rest and Ricklaxation. Episode 7, the Ricklantis mix-up, was advertised as an adventure to Atlantis. Technically speaking, Rick and Morty did go on an adventure to Atlantis, but what viewers actually saw was Tales from the Citadel, an episode that detailed Evil Morty's rise to power on the Citadel. During the rally attended by Cop Rick and Cop Morty in Tales from the Citadel, Mortys are shown holding signs that reference previous episodes. One says nobody exists on purpose, which Morty told Summer during Ricksty Minutes, and another says don't be trippin' dog, which is close to the line that Morty said in Lawnmower Dog. The Ricklantis mix-up / Tales from the Citadel is the highest rated Rick and Morty episode on IMDb, just edging out the previous holder, the Rickshank Rickdemption. As a whole, no episode from Season 3 earned less than 8 out of 10 stars. The ABCs of Beth reminds us yet again that despite whatever the box in the garage says, Rick and Morty does not mess with time travel. At the end of the episode, Rick quickly gets pizza and then goes out of his way to explain how he went to an alternate reality that didn't create daylight savings time and stole pizzas from the counter. Thus, he did not place an order and wait, explaining how he returned almost immediately. Rick invented nearly everything his daughter asked him to make when she was a child. The list of inventions goes by quick in the episode, so here they all are for you one more time. A ray gun, a whip that makes people like you, invisibility handcuffs, a parent leg trap, a lightning gun, a teddy bear with anatomically correct innards, night vision googly eyeglasses, sound erasing sneakers, false fingerprints, fall asleep darts, a lie detecting doll, an indestructible baseball bat, a ladybug taser, a fake police badge, location tracking stickers, rainbow duct tape, mind control hair clips, poison gum, and a pink sentient switchblade. All essentials for a growing girl. In the ABCs of Beth, Rick references Reddit and R2-D2. He compares the way he treated Beth as a child to a father who designed a toilet that looked like R2-D2 as a way of entertaining his kids and getting acclaim on Reddit for it. It sounds legit, but there's no currently known real-life Reddit post or instance of such an event happening, although I'm sure since the episode has aired, some father has been hard at work on an R2-D2 toilet. Ryan Ridley calls the ABCs of Beth the wildest episode of the show he's ever done, mostly because it deals with incest, bestiality, and cannibalism all within the span of one 22-minute episode. Roiland says they didn't want to include bestiality, but apparently the fans demanded it and market research showed that the people wanted it, so I think we all need to take a good hard look at ourselves in the mirror and contemplate our life choices tonight. The end of the ABCs of Beth is intentionally vague and ambiguous. The writers wanted to leave it up to the viewers to decide for themselves if it mattered to them whether or not Beth was cloned. Even Beth herself doesn't know the outcome, as she questions her own identity in the Richturian Morty bit, and in true Rick and Morty fashion, doesn't ever get an actual answer. Rick and Morty break 1,000 federal laws a day, but never get arrested because they've been pardoned by the president thanks to their help in saving the world on numerous occasions. According to Rick and several of the president's advisors, Rick has a Wikipedia page, which seems to indicate that he's somewhat well known on Earth. From the sound of it, Rick edits his own Wikipedia page and has included some fake weaknesses on it, such as Sanchezium. However, there are some things listed on Rick's Wikipedia page that are true, such as the fact that Rick Sanchez is afraid of pirates. Strangely enough, Pirates of the Pancreas was his favorite ride in the Anatomy Park episode. Maybe he had an experience on the ride, or maybe he rode it one too many times and now the pirates haunt his dreams? The Smith family has a secret cabin located on the scenic Mount Hill where they go to occasionally hide from Rick. And before you go searching, there doesn't seem to be a real Mount Hill in our world, probably because the name is a bit contradictory and funny. Rick and Morty both play Minecraft and seem to really enjoy the game. In the Richturian Morty Dit, they blow off saving America to mine stuff to craft with and craft stuff to mine with. A very Dan Harmon move. Terryfold, the song from Rest and Ricklaxation, was written by Justin Roiland and Seattle duo band Chaos Chaos. In case you haven't heard it, the song features a Mac DeMarco-like guitar riff and a propulsive bass line. And of course, a nonsensical stream of lyrics from Roiland himself. Believe it or not, Terryfold debuted at number 33 on the Billboard Hot Rock Songs chart on September 23rd of 2017 after the song was streamed in the US 1.1 million times and sold at 1,000 downloads for the week ending September 7th. Terryfold even received a radio edit and was even played on some stations, such as Vermont radio station 102.7 WEQX. Justin Roiland declared a fan-made music video by Neon Robotic the official music video for Terryfold, and it's about as disturbing and not safe for work as you'd imagine. Chaos Chaos also composed the music for Fathers and Daughters, the song featured in the ABCs of Beth, although the lyrics were written by Dan Harmon this time instead of Justin Roiland. Adult Swim released a full-length version of Fathers and Daughters online in case the abridged version from the episode wasn't enough for you. It may seem like another random Rick and Morty song, but Fathers and Daughters is actually surprisingly deep. Nerdist broke down the lyrics and came to the conclusion that the song is about Rick realizing and accepting his flaws, and while no song can make up for them, he wants to let Beth know that he loves her. A Rick and Morty coffee table art book, The Art of Rick and Morty, was released in September of 2017 and features concept art from seasons 1 and 2. In celebration of season 3, the game Pocket Mortys had weekly updates that coincided with new episodes and released new avatars based on the characters in the episodes. In an effort to help raise money after Hurricane Maria, Pocket Mortys donated all proceeds from October 1st to Puerto Rico. Beth and Jerry's divorce at the beginning of season 3 was a creative decision by Harmon and the writing staff. Harmon felt it would be good to move away from the running joke of the dysfunctional marriage from seasons 1 and 2. By having the two get divorced, it allowed the writers to explore a new family dynamic and better connect to viewers who have been through the same thing in their childhood. Many of the writers on the show were raised by separated parents, so their own personal stories were imbued into the season as well. Pickle Rick and the Ricklantis mix-up are two of Dan Harmon's favorite episodes, while Rest and Ricklaxation is one of Roiland's favorites. Season 3 of Rick and Morty was the most watched comedy show in Adult Swim's 16-year history of programming. Harmon and Roiland think the year-and-a-half gap between seasons 2 and 3 helped the show grow in popularity, leading to the massive success of season 3. The series doesn't just stop with Adult Swim. According to Nielsen surveys and Live Plus 7 ratings, Rick and Morty is currently the most popular comedy series on TV for adults aged 18 to 34 in the US. We mentioned the TV ratings for the season premiere, but the live stream ratings were the bigger indicator of success. The live stream season premiere recorded 3 million unique visitors, 43.3 million impressions, and 8.7 million video views combined. Based on those numbers alone, it was a clear sign that season 3 was heading for record-breaking heights. In the gap between seasons 2 and 3, Mr. Poopy Butthole has curbed his addiction to painkillers, settled down with a family, and earned his GED! Ooh-wee! The Meeseeks were supposed to return in season 3, but the episode would have required a rewrite, and Roiland didn't want to completely change the episode just to include Meeseeks. The Meeseeks do make a very brief cameo in the background of a scene in Morty's Mind Blowers, but if you blink, you'll miss it. Luckily, you've got us to point it out. The fly code to make the Smith family garage transform into Rick's laboratory is right, left, right, right, right. During Rick's Szechuan rant in the Rick Shank Rickdemption, he mentions 9 more seasons multiple times. Fans speculate that this is a reference to Dan Harmon's Community, which frequently made meta-level jokes about the show receiving 6 seasons and a movie. Ultimately, Community delivered on the 6 seasons, but fans are still waiting on the movie. Rick Sanchez diagnosed himself as autistic in the Richturian Morty Dit. During production on Community, Dan Harmon took a test online and also self-diagnosed himself to be on the autism spectrum. Season 4 has not been officially announced yet as of recording recording this video on October 20th of 2017, but Harmon himself has said that the show will be returning, and in one interview said that he's about to do season 4. Also, with record-breaking numbers, it seems inevitable that Adult Swim will greenlight a 4th season, but we'll just have to wait to find out. Fans are already speculating that season 4 will revolve around the potentially cloned Beth from the ABCs of Beth and a potential council of Beths. According to Mr. Poopy Butthole, season 4 might not come for a while again. He said that the next time we see him, he may have a big white beard and grandchildren, although the real meaning of this quote seems to be up for debate amongst fans. Some fans theorize that season 3 isn't actually over with the Rick and Morty date, and that another episode is coming in another couple of months. It sounds far-fetched, but considering the 3-month gap between the first and second episode of the season, all precedent's been thrown out the window. Anything's possible. And there you have it. I'm Jacob, and thanks for watching 107 Rick and Morty Season 3 Facts. Which one was your favorite? Did we miss anything else? What did you do in the break between seasons 2 and 3? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to click that little bell icon to become part of our notification squad. And if you liked this video, make sure to hit subscribe so that you always know when we have something new, and remember, Frederator loves you.